Maybe it's the Gotham City in me. We just have a bad history with freaks dressed like clowns.
Boys! Bruce Wayne meets Clark Kent. I love it. I love bringing people together. How are we?
This thing looks like a goddamn train wreck. I really want to be wrong about this movie, but nothing I've seen in trailers or read about it so far makes me like it even one little bit. I want it to be good, but honestly, what the fuck is this? There are just so many things wrong with this. I mean, these characters have been around for nearly 80 years. Surely there must be some good crossover movies out there. That aren't Justice League movies. That focus only on Batman and Superman. That aren't a near frame-by-frame adaptation of a critically acclaimed graphic novel from 1980. Motherfucker! Back in the 90s, Bruce Timm and a dynamite team of great writers, animators, and voice actors practically revolutionized Saturday morning cartoons with Batman the Animated Series. It was grittier than just about any show aimed at children before then, and definitely a grimmer take on Batman that had more in common with the Tim Burton films and the current comic books than the wacky 1960s Adam West Batman that most people were familiar with. The next step seemed obvious, and the team then created another animated series, this time for the Big Blue himself, Superman. Slightly powered down, given a bit more attitude and a very varied array of enemies, the Superman show was very different in tone from Batman TAS, while still keeping the same style and level of quality. And eventually it led to the creation of the excellent Justice League cartoon and what is today referred to as the DC Animated Universe. Now if only there'd been a Wonder Woman show too, things would have been so perfect. I'm still holding out for that one. In any case, given the two characters' long history of crossovers, partnership, and conflict in comic books, it didn't take long for the two to cross over. And in Season 2 of Superman the Animated Series, we got World's Finest, a three-parter detailing the first meeting between the Dark Knight and the Man of Steel. And I don't think I can imagine a better way to warm up, so let's give it a whirl. We begin in Gotham City, where Joker and Harley Quinn, you know, before she was Harlot Quinn, weirdly steal a seemingly worthless jade dragon from an antique shop. But, as Batman reminds us when he investigates,
things are never what they seem with the Joker.
As it turns out, the dragon is actually made of kryptonite. Sensing trouble, Bruce travels to Metropolis to investigate. Upon his arrival, he meets Clark Kent and Lois Lane, who, having been burnt by Superman one time too many, instantly starts flirting with the handsome billionaire bachelor, who also instantly seems to fall for her. Okay, can I just say, potential gold digging here aside, this is and always will be my favorite version of Lois Lane. She is so cool! She stopped giving fucks to such a degree that she doesn't even bat an eye during a terrorist plane hijacking.
Lane? Lois Lane? The one Superman always saves?
Afraid so. Thanks for strapping me in.
God, I love that woman! Meanwhile, Harley Quinn poses as Luthor's bodyguard Mercy, giving the Joker the opportunity to stage a meeting between two of comicdom's greatest villains and most unlikely partners.
I sense we are kindred spirits, you and I. Oh, there are differences to be sure. Like hair.
Don't be so sad, Lex. I've got plenty for the three of us. Revealing that he's strapped for cash, the Joker offers to use the Jade Dragon to murder Superman for the net sum of $1 billion. After a bit of convincing, Lex agrees.
You know I can't be connected to this in any way.
Oh, you'll be Mr. Clean. I promise.
Oh god, who said the Joker isn't funny? So while Joker makes his presence known in Metropolis in what is basically a PG version of that famous scene from The Dark Knight, Lois and Bruce go on their first date. Bruce, ever the detective, asks a lot of questions about Superman to Lois' chagrin.
Maybe we could change subjects.
No more men in tights?
Deal.
Hey, fuck you, I love Mel Brooks! And of course, when not pining over Lois, both our heroes start their investigation.
So just keep your ears open. Let me know if you hear any buzz about the Joker.
Sure thing, Mr. Kent. But which one? There's lots of Jokers around here.
You know, we're only halfway through and I'm super into this. It's still a serious story, but it's so bright and colorful and it still remembers to be a little funny in places. Sometimes you just need some good, wholesome, family-friendly superhero entertainment, you know?
Where's the Joker?
Who knows? Making haha with Harley Quinn.
Superman does not approve of Batman's methods and uses his X-ray vision to find out his identity immediately. Which Batman returns in kind with a tracker. Your move, Big Blue. Knowing each other's secret identities puts a bit of a strain both on the investigation and on the relationship with Lois, but it still doesn't stop Bruce from taking her on a second date, which is then interrupted by the Joker. Somehow managing to completely miss an unarmed man out in the open, Joker's gang sends Bruce falling off of the building only to be saved by Superman and then kidnaps Lois.
You sick, demented, murdering freak! How rude!
Did I mention I love this woman? Cause I totally do. Joker then sends Superman a message telling him to come alone to one of the LexCorp labs to rescue her, but having been warned about the kryptonite by Batman, he arrives wearing his lead suit, completely throwing Joker off his game.
Oh, wait! That's it!
What?
Silly me. I forgot the acid.
Boom! That was awesome! See, this is why the Joker doesn't necessarily have to be all gritty gangster. Just keep him unpredictable and clever. That's the Joker right there. Having followed Superman there, Batman arrives and dissolves the dragon with some hydrochloric acid, giving Superman back his power so they can escape before the Joker's gas does them in, prompting Joker to escape himself using exploding marbles that trash the lab. After having to explain the explosion to the press, Luthor is understandably less than happy with Joker and goes to attack his hideout and bitch him out. But since Joker still has one half of the Kryptonite dragon, he convinces Luthor to let him try again. And just to make sure things don't get too serious, Mercy and Harley have a hilarious sounding catfight in the background. No reason, just because. And I love it.
Pull my hair, I'll pull your hair, we'll struggle to the pavement at the catfight. Catfight.
Having overheard Luthor admitting that he was working with the Joker, Clark brings the idea to Lois and Bruce in the office later under the guise of it being a potential story. Bruce, being a business partner of Lex's and already being displeased that he turned a reconnaissance robot of theirs into a military weapon without his permission, says that he'll ask him, by which he naturally means Batmaning the hell out of him. Meanwhile, back at the Daily Planet office, Lois decides to spring some heavy news on Clark.
A transfer?
Just to the planet's Gotham City Bureau.
Does this mean you and Bruce...
We haven't made a formal commitment or anything, but yeah, it's that serious.
Really? I mean, it's not clear how many days pass in this crossover, but haven't you only been on like 2 dates? One of which ended in gun violence and kidnapping? Are you sure you're not confusing Bruce Wayne with Bruce Wallet?
Never leave the cave without it.
What the hell was that? But before a relationship debate can begin, a distress call from a cruise ship is sent out and Clark flies off to investigate. Batman, however, has already arrived and sure enough, it's the Joker terrorizing the ship using one of the Wayne Tech LexCorp robots from before. While Superman patches up the ship to save everybody, Batman's fight with the robot escalates and moves into the city where he manages to rescue Lois Lane. Too bad about everyone else though. Gee, it's almost as if not having superpowers doesn't automatically make you the best superhero ever. Can someone show this scene to Doc Monk, please? Eventually, the fight leads to a newspaper printer and Batman manages to shove the robot inside, but not before losing his mask and cape and revealing his identity to Lois.
So when were you gonna tell me? The honeymoon?
Oh, Lois, if only you knew. Anyway, to say the least, she is not happy about it.
How could you have lied to me like that?
Now, I never actually said I wasn't Batman. Ow!
Ha! Lois takes no sass. God, I love that woman.
I'll get some iodine for that scrape. Burning, stinging iodine.
Nope, still love her.
I see she's taking it well.
It's ironic, you know. She likes Bruce Wayne and she likes Superman. It's the other 2 guys she's not crazy about.
Too bad we can't mix and match.
Oh, give it a season, Superman. Luthor, by now having had enough of Joker's shit, tries to take him out and steal the rest of the kryptonite. But Joker and Harley take out Lex and Mercy in an instant, steal his plane, and actually have the gall to repaint it as a giant smile. Now that's real Joker style. With their partnership revoked, Joker decides to destroy everything Luthor ever built to teach him a lesson.
Luthor's built half of Metropolis.
And of course, to keep Superman out of his hair, he also leaves a couple kryptonite-laden robots to deal with him while Batman pursues them. All looks lost for Superman when suddenly the robot grabs a giant door and tries to smash him with it, leading to this gem.
Lead-lined door. I'll have to thank Luthor.
Hey, look at that! It's a daring escape from a seemingly foolproof death trap that makes perfect sense for every character involved. How's that for awesome? Using the door to push the robot into a cliff and smashing the kryptonite, Superman defeats the robot and flies off to help the others by flipping the destructive plane with everyone on board. As Batman fights the Joker, Superman swoops in to save him. The two manage to grab Harley Quinn and Lex Luthor, leaving the Joker at the mercy of his own exploding marbles as the plane crashes into the harbor. And just like that, the Joker is finally, undeniably, positively, stone cold dead for good. The Joker dead! Undeniably!
At this point, he probably is.
And thus, the bad guys have been beaten and the good guys have settled their differences and earned new respect for each other. As Bruce gets ready to go back to Gotham, Lois realizes she will never have him due to his dedication to the Batman cowl, and she decides to stay in Metropolis.
She's all yours now, if you can handle that. But you'd better be good to her, 'cause I know where you live.
Ah, good times. I mean, what's a little death threat between friends, right? So that was Batman Superman World's Finest. And in case you can't tell, I think it's pretty excellent. Not only does the story include both of our heroes' arch enemies, everyone's motivations and methods are clearly on display and come in conflict with each other naturally, even while they're all trying to achieve common goals. And all of this without having to throw punches at each other. Now, I'm not saying that Batman and Superman getting in an all-out fight is necessarily a bad thing on its own, but it is pretty contrived and should take some very extreme circumstances. World's Finest is not without flaws, though. Luthor does feel surprisingly passive at times, and I'm a little iffy about the love triangle subplot. Not that this version of Bruce hasn't fallen in love before this, but it just seems so sudden and speeds by so fast it's a little unbelievable, even though their scenes together work really well. But really, all of that is just peanuts. This is still a damn good crossover. And who knows, maybe despite my low expectations, Batman vs Superman Dawn of Justice will be too. Maybe it's all just bad marketing. Maybe its story will justify the bleak color palette, the pseudo-philosophical rambling, and the ham-fisted inclusion of Wonder Woman. Maybe even Jesse Eisenberg's Luthor will actually be interesting. No, of course it won't. Who the fuck am I kidding? Get that garbage out of my face. Hello guys, and thank you so much for watching my thoughts on Superman Batman World's Finest. If you haven't had enough geekiness, there are more videos like it on my channel. And if you like what you see, go right ahead and hit that subscribe button and leave me a like and a comment. You can also find me on Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch, all of which have links in the description. Thank you again, and see you next time. Oh, jeez. Too much. Oi. Fuck! Jeg kan mokobrus. Lad os drukne af mig selv. But really, in the grand scheme, that's just peanuts. And just like that, the Joker is finally, undeniably, unquestionably, certainly, stone cold dead for good. Oh, jeez. Ah, too much Joker gas.